Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at...
That's awesome. All right, let's see. You turning your phone on silent?
Yes.
Awesome.
I can't believe I have to go into my phone and just turn it on airplane mode.
It's okay.
Oh, you want to go on airplane mode? You got to type in your password first.
Okay. Let's make sure that nobody can mess with your phone without you knowing. All right. Ready? We got 10 seconds.
The time is 10
Ready?
a.m.
Do you want to read the...
We're live.
Yes. Do you want to read the intro?
All right. Thank you for tuning in to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. My name is Madison, and I'm here with Savannah.
Hello.
We invite you to listen to our broadcast both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel Monday to Friday between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. each week. Additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, please visit www.reader.ku.edu. This site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa, Audio Reader, Network mobile app, and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcast by KSMU Radio. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for more information on receiving a pre-programmed radio. Savannah will now read the first article.
From the Springfield Daily Citizen, 4x4 Brewing files for bankruptcy, vows to continue operations. 4x4 taproom operations, staff, and events will continue to operate as normal throughout the restructuring period. This article is written by Ryan Collins. The article starts with a picture of the 4x4 Brewing Company logo at the head of their bar. 4x4 Brewing Company, LLC, filed for bankruptcy in federal court January 15th, announcing a reorganization of debt, according to a company statement. The company will continue operations throughout the restructuring. 4x4, located at 2811 East Galloway Street, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy code in the Western District of Missouri, United States Bankruptcy Court. A hearing was held in front of Judge Brian T. Fenimore on January 20th. In addition to the Galloway location, the brewery also has a storefront in Nixa at 9003 Sawgrass Avenue. Tap room operations, staff, and events will continue to operate as normal throughout the restructuring period, according to the statement. 4x4 will keep up all upcoming beer releases, community gatherings, and seasonal promotions as planned. The move is about protecting the future of 4x4, not ending it, the company said in the emailed statement. Like many small breweries, we've faced significant financial headwinds in recent years. This restructuring allows us to realign our finances, strengthen operations, and keep doing what we love, serving our community and brewing great beer. Company working with private investor to restructure debt. There is another photo of the 4x4 Brewing Company from the outside. This photo is also provided by 4x4. 4x4 Brewing Company opened in December 2017, according to the company website. Arvis Bank is listed as the largest creditor with an unsecured claim in the brewing company, according to the filing. The company estimated to have less than 50 creditors, somewhere between $500,001 and $1 million in assets, and $1 million to $10 million in liabilities, according to the bankruptcy filing. The brewing company is working with private investor support to reorganize the debt, according to the emailed statement. After exploring public fundraising last year, the company decided to go with a third-party investor that is aligned with the brewery's mission. It's the right move by our staff, our customers, and our community, 4x4 said in the emailed statement. 4x4 is represented by Spencer Desai of the Desai Law Firm. All right.
Next article for the day. Check out your calendars, because today is Answer Your Cat's Question Day. Answer Your Cat's Question Day is a facetious holiday. Answer Your Cat's Question Day is. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm trying to read this in one shot.
It's okay. It's okay.
Answer Your Cat's Questions Day is a
Facetious
holiday. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This day is when people
Right.
with cats, such as me,
You're-
when people with cats are to look at them and meditate
Mm-hmm.
on what they think they are trying to ask them, and then answer the cat's questions. Kind of like what we do.
Mm-hmm.
This day seems to follow the commonly held belief that cats aren't very communicative with humans. However, cats do try to communicate with humans. It's just that we can't always actually interpret what they're actually trying to tell us. Yeah, that's true. There are multiple ways in which cats try to communicate with humans. When a cat purrs at a human, it means the cat wants their attention or care and doesn't want them to go away. It may mean the cat is happy, but it also might mean that they're hurt, sick, or need some other help in some other way. Cats also communicate by rubbing up against people. When they do this after an owner returns home, they're acknowledging their owner's return and are welcoming them back, expressing that they have missed them. Cats also do this same ritual if they have been apart from each other for a while. Even feral cats do this after returning home from hunting. I think they also do it to leave their scent. There are multiple ways in which cats try to communicate with humans. Wait. Oh, I am sorry. I accidentally read the.
It's okay. Right here.
I almost read the same article.
It's okay.
Continuing. Meowing is something that cats have to come up with in order to communicate with or to get the attention from humans. It is developed because humans have given a response to it, and it's not something that feral cats do. The meows of a cat are unique to it and its relationship with its owner. Other cats may have completely different types of meows they use with their owners, and humans shouldn't necessarily meow back at their cats, but a soft vocalization can be like giving them a greeting. The facial expressions cats also display, it gives us clues as to how they are feeling, and in a sense, this is a way for them to communicate. Cats have tense facial muscles, and when they are stressed and relaxed, they have tense facial muscles when they are stressed and relaxed muscles when they're happy. They also blink slowly when they're comfortable with who they are, with who they're looking at and who they are with. Cats even use their tails to communicate their feelings. When attempting to communicate with a cat, humans should verbalize with varied tones and facial expressions. There is some indication that cats can sense emotions from human facial expressions, and they react differently depending on what they are. They are particularly responsive to the communication of their owners, and they may not necessarily know exactly what an owner is telling them, but they can associate what is being conveyed with past experiences, giving them a general idea if good or bad things will happen. Kind of like when we tell our cat no, and she's like, I know, you read this. The article goes on to say, how to observe, answer your cat's questions day. If you have a cat, go up to it, look it in the eyes. Perhaps you'll get that feeling that they are looking at you with a question in mind. The creators of the day say that you should try to answer your cat's question. If you want it to be scientific about the process, try to deduce what your cat is saying through their purr, meow, and body language, such as their tail, eye, and body movements. If you don't have your own cat, you could try this with any cat you come into contact with today. Anyone who is interested in learning about more communication with cats could pick up books such as Cat Sense, How the Feline Science Can Make You a Better Friend to Your Pet, or How to Speak Cat, a guide to decoding cat language. That's the end of that article. So if you have cats, try to answer a question. They might answer back, you never know.
All right. Springfield Daily Citizen. As Glow turns 30, a look back at Springfield's complicated LGBTQ plus history. Springfield is home to Missouri's oldest LGBTQ community center. As both the state and federal governments have advanced legislation targeting the LGBTQ plus community, the Glow Center has seen an influx of newcomers, but the Queen City's queer community has weathered similar challenges for decades. This article is written by Zoe McIntyre. This article does start with a four-part photo. From left to right, guests at Lucille's Leopard Lounge, a post-World War II gay bar in downtown Springfield, danced together in the mid-1950s. The second photo is the Tigress, crowned the first Miss Gay Springfield in 1976, poses for a photo. The third is visitors at Southwest Missouri State McDonald's Arena view panels from the AIDS Memorial Quilt, which was brought to Springfield for the first time in 1991. And the fourth is community members march and pride event on Commercial Street, carrying a banner with the Glow Center's central original logo. This photo is provided by the OLGA collection at MSU. In depth. Springfield has historically been one of the Ozarks' main hubs for commerce, education, music, and religious community. It is home to the Assemblies of God headquarters and the birthplace of the Mother Road, Route 66. For many years, a lively underground LGBT community has also been growing in Springfield. The Queen City is now home to the Glow Center, Missouri's oldest LGBTQ+ community center, which will celebrate its 30th anniversary this year. The brick-and-mortar space was once a distant dream for a small group of local lesbian and gay activists. Aaron Kitchens, now executive director of the Glow Center, said he was surprised to learn that the organization has existed in Springfield for more than 2 decades when he first moved to the city in 2017. I would think that St. Louis or Kansas City would have had the oldest LGBTQ+ community center in Missouri, he said. There's a photo of Aaron Kitchens as he sits center frame with a hat that says "Do Good." He is, again, the director of the Glow Center. This photo is provided by Jen Wilson. Nestled in the Ozarks, the Springfield Metro was never on the cutting edge of the historic gay rights movement. As the city tended to progress slowly, a lack of public awareness and education on LGBTQ+ people may have helped some gay Springfieldians avoid widespread public scrutiny. However, broader culture attitudes have always trickled down into Springfield. Kitchens express that oppositional rhetoric toward gay and transgender people has ramped up in recent years, culminating with someone leaving engraved unspent rifle cartridges on the center's doorstep last fall. It's really hard to not have that impact you, so we do see the impacts of minority stress on our community. If that doesn't manifest as some sort of self-harm, it can often manifest as more risky behavior, he said, referencing substance misuse and other behaviors LGBTQ+ people disproportionately experience. In Kitchen's tenure, the community center has served LGBTQ+ youth who become homeless after being shunned by families. The problem is not new. Founding members of the Glow Center first became active in Springfield's efforts to shelter unhoused youth in the 1990s and early 2000s. The local LGBTQ+ community is experiencing many of the same challenges it faced before the turn of the century. Despite adversity, gay, lesbian, and trans Springfieldians have long found spaces to express themselves and maintain community. Rising visibility, increasing scrutiny. There is a graphic that says 40s and 50s, what was happening. Around the world, World War II, gay federal employees fired in Eisenhower administration's Lavender Score, and then in Springfield, sex crimes and moral investigations, LGBTQ+ scene developing with gay-friendly businesses. Where did people meet? Rendezvous Lounge in the Colonial Hotel, Jefferson Avenue, Fox and Hound Bar in the Kentwood Arms Hotel, Kimbrough Avenue, and the Leopard Room, 504 College Street. The World War II era was a period of increasing visibility for LGBTQ+ people across the U.S. The war itself brought young adults out of their hometowns, stationing them in barracks with strangers and peers. Gay soldiers developed cliques and close-knit friend groups in many camps. Records and letters from Camp Crowder in Neosho, Missouri, offer a glimpse into the lives of gay soldiers. After the war, a handful of gay-friendly businesses developed in downtown Springfield. The establishment gave queer people the ability to be part of their own scene. The scene may have been relatively unknown to many Springfieldians in the 1940s and 50s, but several crime investigations made gay people more visible.
What does queer mean?
It is a reference to the LGBTQ+ community. There is a picture of one of these letters from one of these gay soldiers. Harold Clark received a letter from one of his fellow soldiers who was enjoying a stay in Springfield's Kentwood Arms Hotel. The hotel's Fox and Hound Bar was frequented by some gay Springfieldians. Photo courtesy of OLGA collection at MSU. This photo does have writing on it. Unfortunately, it is too faded for me to read.
Hang on, let me see. Is it in cursive? I think it says, "Are we how we are in loving
in Springfield." Yeah, it's a little bit too faded for us to read, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but
I know how to read cursive. It's just
it's okay.
It's too
It's okay.
sophisticated.
It's okay. Like I said, it's very faded. We're gonna move on.
Something about the war, though, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was common for gay men in particular to be charged as sex criminals if their intimate relationships were discovered. Springfield newspapers covered a few high-profile moral investigations involving Missouri men. For instance, in 1948, a longtime University of Missouri journalism professor named E.K. Johnston was charged with sodomy. The prosecutor described him as a principal member of a homosexual ring in Columbia. Johnston was freed on a $3,500 bond, about $46,755 today, and dismissed from his position at the university. Two particular criminal investigations, which were heavily covered by Springfield newspapers, brought more attention to gay and lesbians. In one case, a Springfield mother faced kidnapping charges for attempting to separate her adult daughter from her partner and bring her home from California against her will. Later, a local businessman's death prompted a murder investigation that uncovered his secret relationship. Although the consequences could be severe for LGBTQ+ people whose sexual orientations were publicly revealed in the 40s and 50s, gay Springfieldians carved out spaces for themselves. House parties were popular because they offered safety, privacy, and exclusivity. People also flocked to a handful of downtown businesses. Popular mid-century hangout spots included the Leopard Room, the Cave, and Peg's La Petite, which was considered a bar for poets and beatniks. A collection of Polaroid photographs from the Leopard Room have survived over the years. There is a example of one of these Polaroids of 9 people sitting around a table as they share drinks and a meal together. Small city, quiet progress. As civil rights leaders made strides in racial equality during the 1960s, a grassroots homophile movement began to grow. It united both LGBTQ+ people and straight allies in advocacy for gay rights. The homophile leagues found footholds in large U.S. cities. Kansas City, considered a central location, became the site of these leagues' convergence in 1966 for the National Planning Conference of Homophile Organizations. Meanwhile, police raids on gay-friendly bars became more commonplace. In 1969, a raid at Manhattan's Stonewall Inn tipped off several days of riots. Another graphic. 60s and 70s, what was happening? Around the world, landmark Civil Rights Act. Gay right movements emerged, homophile leagues, and the Stonewall riots. In Springfield, very little police presence in gay-friendly businesses. First Miss Gay Springfield drag pageant. Where did people meet? The Cave, Commercial Street and Washington Avenue, Pigs La Petite, Bonneville Avenue, The Galaxy, McDaniel Street. People in Springfield received national news about all these events. Clark Pike, a gay black man born in Springfield in 1945, recalled in 2009 oral history, "I just read that in the histories and stuff about the bars, and people told me, but they didn't bother us during that period. That was in the 60s, when I was real active here in Springfield." Springfield's small size and distance from other cities shaped its social dynamics. Pike remembered hearing about race riots taking place in Arkansas while he was growing up. He commented, surprisingly, it didn't happen too much around here. Although many locals feel that tolerance is a virtue of the Ozarks, one aspect in which the region has suffered is with lack of education on LGBTQ+ people. Randall Doning, 63, said that newspapers were his best source of information on gay and lesbian issues when he was growing up in Monet. There is a picture of Randall Doning, 63, founder of Focus, as he speaks to the Daily Citizen in October 2025. This photo is by Ellie Freistak. He is sitting center frame with a black and white background behind him. It was difficult to put a label on being gay in the 1960s and 70s because there just wasn't a lot of information that was available, he said. The local library there had the New York Times, so you could go read the New York Times, and, there were things about Stonewall and events happening in San Francisco that were covered in the various newspapers that they carried. But you had to know what you were looking for, and you had to go looking for it. Before the HIV/AIDS crisis, gender and class differences created rifts in many cities' queer communities. Gay men and lesbians tended to socialize in different manners. The political lesbian movement, which grew out of a second-wave feminism, influenced some women during the 1960s and 70s to embrace lifestyles that would separate them from men as much as possible. Lesbians who rubbed elbows with gay men in Springfield bars were usually working-class women. So-called lipstick lesbians, who tended to be wealthier, often embodied a different role and preferred meeting in private house parties. A few parks in Springfield were historically known as cruising locations for gay men seeking contact. Phelps Grove Park was the most well-known cruising spot, although evening visits could be dangerous. HIV/AIDS crisis and fiery opposition. The first clinical reports of an unexplained illness which disproportionately affected gay men and intravenous drug users came in 1981. By 1989, the AIDS Project of Springfield reported 149 cases of HIV/AIDS in the Ozarks, with 1/3 of the cases contracted in Greene County. Tension towards the gay and lesbian community continued mounting in Springfield during the 1980s. In one event, members of an Arkansas white supremacist group attempted to burn down a gay-friendly church in Springfield. A later arson whose perpetrator, was never caught, in 1989 scorched the house of an SMSU student who was involved in the production of The Normal Heart, a play that focused on the HIV/AIDS epidemic in New York City. Another graphic, 1980s, what was happening? Around the world, HIV/AIDS public health crisis, gay rights activists became more unfiled and organized. In Springfield, the Normal Heart controversy, activists began AIDS Project on Springfield, now APO. And where did people meet? The Downbeat, Olive Street, later Mr. Jones and Martha's Vineyard. Reflections of Our Past, Commercial Street, later Club 1105 and Zandu. Terrence Grill, Division Street, and Glenstone Avenue. There is a picture of Jim House, the founding member of APO and Glow Center. Photo courtesy of the OLGA collection at MSU. He is standing outside in a red shirt. Despite facing backlash in the early 1980s, LGBTQ+ community members began working alongside city leaders to address the impact of HIV/AIDS. Jim House helped to establish the AIDS Project of Springfield, now AIDS Project of the Ozarks APO. House credited most of the organization's success to the support of Harold Bench, who was then the chair of the Greene County Health Department. In 2004, Oral History, House explained that Bench didn't look at this as a gay issue. He looked at it as a public health issue. The Missouri Health Department reports that between 1982 and 2019, 693 people died due to AIDS in southwest Missouri. AIDS patients often faced family abandonment and lacked support networks. Volunteers in the gay community rallied in death watches to bring these people comfort in their final days. There is a photo of from 1991 of 512 quilt panels honoring people who had died due to AIDS, as displayed in SMSU's McDonald Arena. Each panel is the size of a grave. There are several people standing around as they observe these quilt patterns. The experience of losing friends was traumatic to many people who live through the HIV/AIDS crisis. It gets to where the fact that it's so often that you just kind of just wait. That you just kind of just wait for who's going to come next. You just can't cry no more, Clark Pike said. Tigress got AIDS, she died. There were several. One of my backup dancers got AIDS and died. In the span of 6 years, I lost 12 people, and I was going to more funerals than I was doing shows, said longtime Springfield drag queen Cassandra Love, 57.
Did Freddie Mercury also get AIDS?
Mm-hmm. My problem was getting attached to people because I never knew if they were going to be around. I never knew if they would come home and have the talk. Drag in the Queen City. Cassandra Love. I apologize. I got excited reading the title instead of the describing the photo. There is a photo of Cassandra Love, who is sitting at a bar. It says Cassandra Love, 57, longtime Springfield drag queen. Photo by Ellie Freistack. For Cassandra Love, Springfield's drag scene was in its golden age, when they were performing alongside Bette Davis, the Tigress, and others. Drag was Love's full-time job for years. They estimated that at the height of the local drag scene, about 22 Springfield drag queens were making their living exclusively from drag. Love is a professional stitcher who studied art. A passion for fine handmade garments sparked their interest in drag. Love's titles include Miss Gay Springfield America, Miss Gay Missouri US of A, and Miss Show Me States. Springfield queens develop close bonds with each other during the 1980s and 90s, but they did not always feel supported by the broader LGBTQ+ scene. There was a strong sense of community amongst the drag queens, and we always complained that the rest of the community didn't really show up when we needed them to, Love said. The strong sense of community was vital. Drag queens often faced dangerous situations such as harassment from other people. There is a photo of Cassandra Love in her drag attire. She is wearing an orange boa with large earrings and a very tall crown. Cassandra Love still does drag in Springfield. They became well known for wearing large, elaborate headdresses. This photo is provided by Our Community Roots. The article continues to say, we had rednecks and pickup trucks driving by, throwing beer bottles at us. We had guys with crowbars that would come by and smash our windows. This was not a safe place for us, even though we had made the best of it, Love said. Springfield fails to pass bias crime ordinance. Springfield voters' rejection of a bias crime ordinance was another event that pushed local activists to get organized. The mayor's task force on bias crimes initially proposed the ordinance in 1991. It would have instituted penalties for people who committed crimes linked to malice due to the victim's status as a member of a minority group. A group called Citizens for Decent Standards, mostly made up of people who oppose the normal heart production, opposed the legislation. Paul Summers argued the ordinance would be a smokescreen for the gay agenda. 1990s, another graphic. What was happening? Around the world, U.S. military's Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy begins. March on Washington for lesbian, gay, and bi rights. And in Springfield, activists and people opposed to bias crimes ordinance clash. Try Life, a local LGBTQ plus magazine, circulates in 7 states. And the Glow Center is established. Where did people meet? Martha's Vineyard, Olive Street. Reflections of Her Past, Commercial Street, Later Club, 1105, and Zandu, and the Peanut Gallery Lounge, Boonville Avenue, later The Edge. In support of the effort to penalize bias crimes, local activists formed Citizens Opposing Hatred and Bigotry, known as COHAB. Businesswoman and musician Cruz Devon interviewed 2 COHAB members on This Gay Life, an LGBTQ+ focused weekly talk show that she hosted for about a year in Springfield. Several members of COHAB went on to help found the Glow Center, including Linda Thomas, Jim House, and Charles Ewing. Thomas said COHAB's fight in favor of the Bias Crimes Ordinance was empowering and infuriating. There is a photo of Jeanette Hipskind sitting on the left beside her partner of 31 years, Linda Thomas, as they watch performers on the main stage at Ozarks Pride Fest in 2024. Their dog sits between them. The Springfield City Council rejected the Bias Crime Ordinance in May 1991 after heavy backlash. The task force brought it back before the City Council again 2 years later, and council members approved it in October 1993. But CDS led a petition to repeal it. This issue finally went before Springfield voters in February 1994. It was a crushing defeat, with 71% of voters opposing the ordinance. CDS spent nearly twice as much on advertising as COHAB, with several local churches donating money to oppose the ordinance. I remember we were so devastated because after City Council passed this cool and this wonderful thing, they were affirming and everything. We did not think it was going to be a vote. 70-30. Irving said. There is a photo of Charles Irving at 65, the founding member of the Glow Center, as he holds a binder filled with materials that he referenced during his speaking tours. The loss mobilized members of COHAB. From the Normal Heart controversy in 1989 to the failure of the Bias Crimes Ordinance in 1994, Springfield residents' tolerance of the LGBTQ+ residents did not seem to be increasing. In fact, the word tolerance itself sparked significant controversy in 1995 when Springfield's Good Community Committee attempted to identify common core values of Springfield residents. The committee did not identify advocacy for LGBTQ+ and people as one of its goals, but did list tolerance. But conservative leaders, including Christian Coalition leader Dee Wampler, argued that the term hinted at having tolerance for homosexuals. In response to the backlash, the committee eventually swapped the word tolerance for inclusion. Glow Center leaders made a statement in 1998 by calling Springfield's first Pride celebration Tolerance Fest. First local LGBTQ+ community center established. There is a photo of the Glow Center's first board of directors, led by President Linda Thomas, as they pose in front of a mural in the back of the community center's building. There are 10 people in this photo, all smiling at the camera. After voters repealed the Bias Crime Ordinance, COHAB members continued meeting. They envisioned a community space for LGBTQ+ people to hang out, host meetings, and find support. In 1996, House learned that an acquaintance of his was trying to sell a property on Commercial Street. Several COHAB leaders soon committed to contributing about $20 per month toward the lease. By October that year, the Glow Center was ready to open. With the Normal Heart and Bias Crime controversies fresh in their minds, leaders tried to avoid drawing attention to the community space. They chose to abbreviate Gay and Lesbian Community Center of the Ozarks to Glow Center, making the building's purpose less obvious to passerbys. News spread by word of mouth. Surprising the center's founders, 200 to 300 supportive people turned up to the Glow Center's opening day. There are 2 photos, one of the Glow Center as it was first established, as it was formerly an antique store, photo courtesy of the LLGA collection at MSU, and then one of the Glow Center today, a photo courtesy of Ellie Freistack. That was the shocking thing to me. When we started the Glow Center, was the support from the community, Ewing said. When we started the Glow Center, not only did we get support from our community, but we got support from the city. We had Rabbi Rita there. We had church people. We had people all over the community. It was beautiful. Thomas became the Glow Center's first board president. She previously volunteered at an LGBTQ+ community center in Detroit and established a group called Blossom in Springfield to bring local lesbians together. The Glow Center seemed to continue this walk towards connecting all different members in the city's LGBTQ+ community. In this context, I was involved in Glow. Seemed pretty unifying, Thomas said. The unification was not universal, for instance. Thomas recalled that there seemed to be barriers when it came to including trans and gender nonconforming people in leadership. Cassandra Love told the Daily Citizen that they resigned after a brief tenure on the Glow Center Board of Directors in the 90s. They felt that a lot of the board members didn't agree with having a drag on the board. There is a photo next to this paragraph that shows Linda Thomas sitting and smiling at the camera. Linda Thomas, 77, founding member and first board president of the Glow Center. Photo by Ellie Freistack. Today, 2 of the Glow Center's full-time staff members are trans. Within a month of opening, the Glow Center was hosting potlucks, game nights, and movie screenings. Community members donated books to start the center's free library. Volunteers performed all of the labor. The growth of the center has meant growth for each one of us as individuals involved, Thomas wrote in 1997 newsletter. Many skills have been required, from construction to finance, from cooking to computers. There is another photo. Members of the Glow Center's youth group marched during an early Springfield Pride event. The youth group was originally named Galaxy, with the letter X and Y representing generations X and Y. Photo courtesy of the OLGA collection at MSU. Offering support to youth was another immediate priority for the Glow Center and its leadership. Some teenagers traveled from Joplin, Stockton, West Plains, and even Arkansas for Tuesday night meetings of the youth group, originally called Galaxy. There was always a homeless youth that had been kicked out, Ewing remembered. He and Thomas became members of the Advisory Committee for Homeless Youth set up by the Mayor's Commission in 2000, around the time Rare Breed was established. Trans and gay Springfieldians continue to face challenges. There is a photo of Aaron Kitchens as he sits in the Glow Center and talks towards the camera. In recent years, Republican legislators in Missouri have made several attempts to restrict gender-affirming care. Some trans residents of Springfield considered leaving the state in 2023 when former Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey released an emergency order calling for any people receiving gender-affirming care, regardless of age, to provide years of documentation justifying access to the treatment. Kitchens said that the president returned to office in 2025, the Glow Center had seen an influx of Since the president returned to office in 2025, the Glow Center has seen an influx of trans people seeking advice on changing their legal names in case it becomes inaccessible down the line to do this. We've seen the federal government's willingness to roll back recognition on identities for trans folk, such as invalidating passports that had an X instead of an M or an F gender marker, Kitchen said. I think that the state is emboldened by the federal government's directives and rhetoric and has made it more challenging this year to change your gender marker. In September 2025, the Glow Center canceled several events and temporarily stopped hosting its youth group in the office after Kitchens found unspent bullets carved with threatening words outside the center's door. The executive director described the community's response to the threat investigation as jarring dichotomy. There is a photo of these bullet casings as they were found. They are in a plastic bag. This photo was provided by Executive Director Aaron Kitchens. A number of first-time donors made contributions to the Glow Center after the media covered the threat, Kitchen said. At the same time, he observed a massive wave of folks in public with their full name wishing death upon our community, like in the comment sections of those articles. The Glow Center is continuing to see more and more folks walking in. The young adult group for people's ages 18 to 25 has grown significantly over the past year, according to staff. Kitchens believes that more LGBTQ+ people may seek support in social outlets during periods of public backlash or challenges from the government. For instance, the Glow Center staff members were surprised when over 100 people attended an event called Gays Eating Garlic Bread in September. The free BYOGB, Bring Your Own Garlic Bread event, hosted at Nathaniel Green Park, was planned to help connect people with resources such as Glow Center's food pantry and volunteer opportunities. I think it's those little opportunities that we just have to find, those ways to reach folk, Kitchen said. He estimated that based on the number of people that the Glow Center serves annually, there are still LGBTQ+ people in the area who are missing services. There's probably a lot of other people who are housing insecure, couch surfing with friends, food insecure, still being dead named constantly. Those are the folks that we still need to find and pull them into our community. Editor's note, author Zoe McIntyre interned at the Glow Center while in college. All right, that is the end of that article. Madison?
Which one should I do first?
How about you read the one that you had up?
All right. Health is pretty important, as it says in this next article.
Do you want to introduce it?
Weather-wise, it's from Springfield News-Leader, and it says, "How much snow will Missouri get this weekend? Major winter storm ahead." Vermont's like, you want to bet? This was by Ahmed
Jawadi.
from USA Today Network.
All right.
Your cursor's in the way. All right. Probably got it on your phone notifications, as a severe winter storm is expected to bring dangerously cold temperatures and potentially more than 5 inches of snow to Missouri this weekend. Whoa. The National Weather Service has issued a winter storm watch for the southern half of the state, with snowfall likely to begin Friday, January 23rd, which is tomorrow, in the afternoon. The watch will be in effect from noon, Friday, January 23rd, until noon, Sunday. The watch will be in effect from noon from Friday, January 23 until noon to Sunday, January 25th. The upcoming storm is part of a broader effect affecting much of the United States. Across the central and eastern U.S., a large winter system is forecast to spread snow, sleet, and ice from the plains in the southeast and up toward the mid-Atlantic and northeast. There's a Twitter post, and it says, how much snow will we get this weekend in Missouri? And according to NWS Springfield, it says there is high confidence that an 85 to 95% chance that at least 2 to 4 inches of snow will be seen across southwest Missouri and southeast Kansas. There's still some uncertainty in the potential upper end amounts, but a reasonable worst case scenario is upwards of 10 to 12 inches. There's a picture, like I said before, it's a Twitter article from NWS Springfield, and it's got a picture of
the probabilities of snowfall this weekend.
Yeah. It says probabilities of snowfall this weekend. At first it says probability of at least 2 inches of snow, and then it ends by saying probability at least 8 inches of snow.
Yes, it's restating what was said in the text part.
Total snow accumulations are expected to be around 6 to 9 inches, but some areas could be seen as much as 13 inches. The storm will also bring with it single-digit temperatures and wind chills below zero for most of the state through at least next Tuesday. Other parts of the state will likely be not hit as hard, with eastern and central Missouri, as it is expected to get 3 to 6 inches of snow, while western and northern areas are fairly unlikely to get any snow at all. The snow is predicted to be more on the fluffier, drier side, but is also expected to harden over time due to frigid temperatures, which means accumulated snow will likely remain a hazard for several days. Oh, and there's a picture of a puppy. 14 dog breeds that love the cold weather.
Oh, that's just an ad for a different article. How about we keep reading right here?
The real picture that I meant to say, where is there a winter watch? Where is there a winter storm watch? And are there other alerts in Missouri? There are. There's a full-size map, and there's Missouri, and it's in a...
There is a radar map for Missouri that shows different locations that are marked more for concern. It is centered over
There is a light blue signifying where the storm will be, centered around over Kansas City to Jefferson City, and Springfield, as well as St. Louis.
And I bet you dark blue is like,
Yes, and then in the state of Illinois, there is a dark blue, but we're concerned with Missouri.
yeah. I'm just saying to anybody in any of these states watching this. The article goes on to say, what is the difference between a watch and a warning? I had to learn this myself. Meteorological authorities use watches and warnings to inform people about the severity and potential impact of various weather events. A watch indicates that weather conditions are favorable for a particular weather event. It means the weather has not started just yet, but the conditions are
Conducive.
to it happening. So basically, if you see a gray sky, there's probably going to be a storm.
Well, that's not what the article says.
No, I'm just giving an example. Watches are typically issued 24 to 72 hours in advance. A warning is issued when a severe weather event is occurring or is highly likely to occur. Meaning, if someone sees a tornado touch the ground, it's like...
Well, remember, we just want to read what's on the article.
But yes. Basically, a warning is more serious than a watch. A warning is issued when a severe weather event is occurring or is highly likely to occur. The warning means to take immediate action because the weather is imminent or already occurring. People should seek shelter right away and should take any necessary precautions to ensure safety when a warning is issued. Warnings are also issued when the likelihood of a weather event exceeds to 80%. So like I said, when meteorologists see the tornado touch the ground, it's like, go evacuate.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
like run. There's a live weather radar in Springfield right now.
We're not going to be able to describe these, as these are live events and there is not a lot happening in any of these live radars. But if you would like to go to the Springfield News-Leader, they do have access to live radars in Springfield, St. Louis, and Kansas City.
As for one radar, Kansas City is looking pretty dark up there.
It looks like it is passing over in Illinois.
Oh.
All right. From the Springfield Daily Citizen, SBS Board renews contract with Superintendent Lathan after favorable performance review. Academic progress and implementation of effective systems cited in board review. Contract extended to 2028. Oh my goodness. 2028 to 2029 school year. Article written by Joe Hadsall.
Yeah, get your cursor in your computer.
It is. I'm sorry.
Your cursor computer was on my screen.
Yes, I know. There is a photo of Springfield School Superintendent Dr. Granetta Lathan addressing the audience at the monthly Chamber of Commerce Good Morning Springfield breakfast. She is standing at a podium as she smiles. Superintendent Granetta Lathan will complete her 5th year as leader of Springfield Public Schools with confidence and faith from its elected board. Citing improvements in academic performance, graduation, and attendance and behavior, as well as a strong relationship with the community. The Springfield Board of Education has elected to retain Superintendent Granetta Lathan and extend her contract for another year. The board in executive session Tuesday conducted Lathan's annual performance review, where they renewed Lathan's contract. The vote supporting the extension was unanimous. The Board of Education continues to be very pleased with Dr. Lathan's leadership and steadfast commitment to serving all students, said President Judy Bruner in a press release. In our assessment of the previous year, the board noted significant improvements in academic achievement across all student groups, strong relationships with community stakeholders, and the effective implementation of systems to drive positive outcome district-wide. Lathan's contract has been extended to the 2028-2029 school year, and she will earn an annual salary of $368,174. receiving a raise consistent with raises for all staff members that are awarded at the beginning of the school year. Her review included no bonuses or performance incentives, according to the district spokesperson. Since her hire in 2021, Lathan has worked under a 3-year contract that has been renewed annually. Such revolving contracts are common across the state for educational administrators. In a press release, the board highlighted several aspects of Lathan's performance over the last year, as well as progress since she took the job in 2021. Academic performance. Late last year, the district reported a large leap in making progress in the Missouri School Improvement Plan, making its 3rd consecutive year of increasing its annual progress report score. That improvement plan places a high value on annual tests given to many students, but also noted a 99% graduation rate and improved attendance rate. System implementations. Making that progress required new systems for professional collaboration, teacher training, and monitoring behavior. The board is in its 3rd year using a positive behavioral interventions and support framework and bolstering the employee training for it. The transformation was part of a 15-point plan Lathan proposed in 2023. Community involvement. The board credited Lathan for opening school doors through programs such as Let's Talk, Principal for a Day, and an ambassador program. Lathan is also a member of several community boards. Lathan thanked the board for its support. It's such an honor to serve Missouri's district of choice, and I thank each member of Team SPS for the focus and dedication they may have demonstrated over the past year, Lathan said in the press release. It has been this team's exceptional commitment to academic achievement for all students that has led to important gains. Lathan's contract was discussed in a closed meeting under personnel provisions allowed by Missouri's Sunshine Law. For each of her contract years, the board's support has been strong, with a unanimous vote in her support recorded last year. An exception occurred in 2024 when the board voted 4-3 in support of the renewal. Then board members Kyle Brine and Steve Mikowski, along with current board members Mariam Mohammed Kahani, cast the votes against renewal. At the time, the issue leading to the split vote was not Lathan's performance, but the multi-year nature of the contract. Lathan previously worked for Houston Independent School District, Peoria Public Schools, and San Diego Unified School District. She earned a doctorate in philosophy and workforce education and development from Southern Illinois University, and a master's degree in business education from the University of North Carolina, and a bachelor's degree in business education from University of North Carolina, A&T. That is the end of that article. Here you go, Madison.
Good thing you can't just imagine if it bonked my head. Speaking of winter weather, this article is also from Springfield News-Leader, and it has to do with health. And it says, need your flu shot? Walmart Wellness event offers no-cost vaccination. And the Springfield News-Leader says that this article is from Susan Suzette. Mm-hmm. Walmart pharmacies across the United States will be offering no-cost flu shots to most people this weekend, including in Missouri. The wellness event will run from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It will begin on January 24th, this Saturday, and it's part of Walmart's ongoing commitment to simplifying care, according to a news release. Most insurance coverage has a $0 copay for flu shots, the press release said, and other vaccines such as RSV, shingles, tinnitus, tetanus, not tinnitus, tetanus, and more will be available for affordable prices. Across 4,600 Walmart pharmacies nationwide, the wellness event will not only offer no-cost flu shots, but will also offer free health screenings such as blood pressure and glucose checks, complimentary vision screenings at select vision center locations, insight and support from pharmacists, and sample boxes with nutrition-forward snacks, and supplements, and
Curated.
items to help customers jumpstart and sustain healthier habits throughout 2026. The article goes on to say, a fresh year brings fresh motivation, and the wellness event is our way of helping customers turn that motivation into meaningful action. This was said by Kevin Host, a senior vice president of pharmacy at Walmart, in a press release. He then goes on to say, with convenient, trusted care and everyday wellness solutions, we're committed to meeting people where they are and supporting their health goals in practical, affordable ways. And since 2014, wellness events at Walmart have provided more than 5 million free health screenings, according to the press release. To find your nearest Walmart pharmacy in Missouri, visit this site, walmart.com/store directory/MO.
Next article is from the Springfield Daily Citizen. Lebanon lawmaker sponsors bill to exempt Springfield zoning matters from referendums. Springfield voters previously rejected an amendment to the city charter exempting zoning matters from the referendum process. This article is written by Jack McGee. Editor's note, free access to election coverages is made possible by the Merrill Lynch Nelson Hamill Group. There is a photo of two Galloway ballot issue question 1 signs, one opposing and one supporting. Springfield's referendum petition process and whether it should apply to zoning matters is the subject of legislation in Jefferson City. Republican State Representative Jeff Knight of Lebanon is sponsoring legislation that would effectively exempt Springfield zoning regulations from the referendum process. The bill was introduced on January 7th and read for a second time January 8th. As of January 20th, it has not been assigned to a committee. Without providing specific names, it's okay. Without providing specific names, Knight said business groups and some developers have pushed for the legislation, while noting that the city government was not involved. As you can probably figure, there are developers and there are groups within Springfield that want to see growth and progress. Basically, it's just a bill for growth that allows for some progression, Knight told the Springfield Daily Citizen. Knight also said that Springfield is one of the few cities where zoning matters can be subject to referendum. There is a picture of Representative Jeff Knight standing in front of a microphone. This photo is by Tim Baumel of the Missouri House Communications. Cora Scott, Springfield's Director of Public Information and Civic Engagement, confirmed that the legislation was not initiated by the city, as it is not included in the Springfield City Council's legislative priorities. Knight does not represent any part of Springfield or Greene County. He represents House District 142, which encompasses Dallas County and parts of Camden and Laclede counties. The Springfield City Charter allows residents to challenge ordinances passed by the City Council through referendum process. Only emergency ordinances or ordinances pertaining to the levying of taxes or issuances of special tax bills are exempt from referendum. While the city has previously questioned whether the provision applies to zoning ordinances, residents have used the referendum process to overturn zoning decisions. Referendum petition process. Under the referendum process outlined in the city charter, residents have 30 days following the adoption of an ordinance to submit a petition. If the petition is signed by a sufficient number of qualified voters, the city council must either repeal the ordinance in question or put it on the ballot for voters to decide. Once a petition is submitted, the city clerk then has 20 days to determine whether the petition is signed by a sufficient number of voters and whether each paper of the petition has a proper statement of circulator. If the petition is determined to be insufficient on account of signatures that cannot be certified, the petitioner would have an additional 10 days to file a supplementary petition, which the city clerk would have 5 days to review. Regardless of whether a petition is ultimately determined sufficient or insufficient, the city clerk must certify it before the city council. In order for the petition to be considered sufficient, it must be signed by qualified electors, totaling 10% of the number of voters who cast ballots in the last general municipal election. The most recent referendum on a zoning ordinance took place in the November 2022 election, when more than 70% of Springfield voters elected to overturn the rezoning of 4.2 acres in Galloway Village to facilitate a mixed-use development. The charter also allows voters to propose any ordinance, excluding ordinances appropriating money, and to adopt or reject the same at the polls through the initiative petition process. Unlike referendum petitions, initiative petitions must be signed by qualified electors totaling 7% of the number of voters who cast ballots in the last general municipal election. Otherwise, initiative petitions follow a similar process as referendum processes. Night. There's not a whole lot of reason for an uproar. In 1994, Springfield voters overwhelmingly rejected an amendment to the city charter that would have exempted zoning ordinances from the initiative or referendum process. With House Bill 2847, Knight is proposing for state law, specifically Chapter 89 of the Revised Statutes of Missouri, to exempt zoning matters from a public vote, whether through a referendum or initiative petition. No charter provision or order or ordinance adopted by city shall allow, permit, or authorize a challenge, protest, contest, or repeal of any changes or amendment to such regulations, restrictions, or boundaries by referendum, initiative, or vote of the residents or citizens of such city. The bill reads in part. The legislation also prohibits the city from adopting, enacting, or enforcing a charter provision on order, ordinance, law, regulation, or other provision having force and effect of law that permits any challenge to any proposed change or amendment to such regulations, restrictions, or boundaries except as provided in subsection 1 of this section. While the legislation does not explicitly name Springfield, the described population is only applicable to Springfield based on the 2020 U.S. Census. Specifically, the legislation reads that it shall only apply to any home rule city partially located in any county with more than 260,000 but fewer than 300,000 inhabitants. However, 2024 estimates show Greene County's population now exceeds 300,000. Knight said the legislation isn't set in stone and that he was willing to discuss concerns. In response to concerns that have already been raised, Knight said that the city has a process for residents to express their opposition in zoning ordinance outside of referendums. As proposed, the legislation would continue to allow property owners within 180 feet of a property subject to a zoning change to challenge the proposed ordinance via protest petition. If signed by at least 30% of eligible property owners, the petition required a 2/3 majority of the legislative body to approve a zoning change in order for it to pass. Asked if he knew if and when the bill might be signed to a committee, Knight indicated that it's too soon to tell. There are just a lot of things moving. Everyone's fighting for a position, Knight said, and it's just one of those things that gets everyone in an uproar. And until it gets on the calendar, there's not a whole lot of reason for an uproar. While a Senate version of his legislation has not yet been filed, Knight said there will be a companion in the Senate. Knight, who is term limited in 2026, is running for State Senate District 16.
All right. What would you like to read?
Thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. Come by and see us in person with daily deals at 2713 North Kansas Expressway in Springfield, Missouri. Veterans receive a 25% discount every day, providing significant savings as a token of appreciation for their service. Additionally, the store features a weekly clothing sale where all clothing items are available at 50% off every Wednesday. Seniors aged 55 and older benefit from a 25% discount every Tuesday, making shopping more affordable for the senior community. The Blind Community Thrift Store is a spacious 17,000 square foot thrift store located in Springfield, Missouri. It holds the distinction of being the first retail store worldwide to incorporate Navy lens technology, which significantly enhances accessibility for the blind, visually impaired, and non-English speaking individuals. This
innovative
system enables customers to navigate and shop with minimal assistance, fostering independence and confidence. The store operates as a nonprofit organization dedicated to generating funds that supports the provision of adaptive technology and training for the blind and visual impaired community, often at a little to no cost. Visitors can learn more about the organization and access its services by visiting the store in person at 2713 North Kansas Expressway, Springfield, Missouri, or by exploring the website at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The website offers comprehensive information about the store's mission, services, and opportunities for community involvement, as well as details about the free store available to residents in the Springfield area. I shall. Continuing on. This one is by 417 Magazine, and it says, "This week in Springfield, Missouri, find the best things to do this weekend in Springfield and around Southwest Missouri." This article is by Katie Pollock. Wait.
You got it right.
No, wait, what is S-E-S-T?
Estes. Katie Pollock Estes.
Yes. Okay. There's a photo of 4 people around in a square. They're playing mahjong. They have cocktails. This photo is by Katie Sinclair. On January 31st, join Blooming BAM's Mahjong for a Mahjong 101 class. At 417, we fancy ourselves regional explorers. It's literally our job, but also truly our passion to explore the Ozarks and uncover hidden gems, exciting finds, and interesting people to share with you. In the date book newsletter, that hunt is focused on local events, and we have some great ones on the horizon, from guided twilight hikes to cigar and champagne parties. But our version of Ozarks exploration doesn't hold a candle to the work being done by 2 Springfield-based archaeologists who have uncovered evidence of an unknown civilization in the Amazon. For real, do you have goosebumps? We have goosebumps. Writer Jordan Blumquist got a chance to sit down with Dr. Daniel Pierce and Christopher Bodline, the 2 Missouri State archaeology professors who are on the cusp of a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. There's a video article underneath a red line. It says, "Watch this video to hear them talking about their exciting work."
On the 417 website, there is a link to that article talking more about that event and a video of their interview.
Right. The article goes on to say, "Oh, one more thing. You might remember a month ago when we published a feature about the growing local mahjong craze. Well, if you've been wanting to learn the ins, outs, and multitude of nuisance that make up the game, there's a chance coming up soon. See below, there's another link. But you need to reserve your spot soon because we can pretty much promise you're not the only person out there itching to take up this addictive new hobby." Unlike mahjong, here are other things that you can do. On January 26th, there's a lunch cooking experience at Pickwick and Cherry. Pickwick and Cherry has long offered lessons in cooking cuisines from around the world, formatted as a perfect date night. Did you know that they also offer lunchtime experiences too? They're hands-on, just like the date nights. This week theme features food and flavors from
Bavaria.
Sorry. Flavors from Bavaria, like homemade pretzels, plum cake, white sausages, and more. January 23rd, third Friday shopping evening at the historic Commercial Street. On the third Friday of every month, head to Commercial Street to join the other strollers as they pop in and out of the street's boutiques, art galleries, and other hotspots. Many businesses offer pop-up events and in-store experiences, and there are plenty of eateries along the way where you can grab dinner too. On January 24th, there's two events, the Winter Twilight Hike and the Winter Wine Series. First off, the Winter Twilight Hike is at Lake Springfield Park. After seasoned staff guide on a wintry hike where you can keep an ear out for hooting owls and chirping spring peepers, you can warm up with some hot chocolate and snacks, and this event is for all ages. However, if you don't want to do a Winter Twilight Hike, like I said, you can also do the Winter Wine Series, which is at the Warman House at Big Cedar Lodge. Lodge?
Lodge.
Because the lounge is like, what, relax? Throughout January and February, Big Cedar's Lodge annual celebration of Taste Festival features several wine-centric events. Among them is through the Winter Wine Series, which highlights different wines paired with a multi-course meal. January 25th, Shelley Belly at the Springfield Comedy Club. Come hungry because you'll be tasting so many macaroni and cheese samples at this gut-busting event and fundraiser for Ozarks Area Community Action Corporation, or OACAC. There's also live music fun activities for children and more. January 27th, the Angler Fish Adventure at Wonders of Wildlife. This is for kiddos who love animals, nature, and the natural world. This educational event teaches kids all about the deep-sea anglerfish and its bioluminescence lure that helps hunt its prey. There's 3 events going on through January 28th. I'm going to be reading them off one by one. They're all January 28th. First up is the Barricade Boys Broadway Party at the Ados Center for the Performing Arts. This for some of talented performers. What are you doing? This foursome of talented performers brings the music of your Broadway Broadway favorites to the stage in Nixa. You'll hear music from Les Miserables, Wicked, Jersey Boys, and more. Plus, the Barricade Boys will also throw in a bit of Motown, pop, rock, and swing sounds for an evening filled with great tunes. Once again on January 28th, Metro Bingo at the I'm sorry.
It's okay. Metropolitan
Grill. This widely popular bingo night features 5 rounds of the... I'm sorry, Savannah.
It's okay.
5 rounds of
Metropolitan's Grill.
Take on the game. For example, they spelled out METRO instead of BINGO. You also get an ordered dish from their special bingo night menu, and you might even win a prize. Lastly, on January 28th is Lady Cigars Night at the Vineyard Market. Here's a fun girls' night opinion option. Take your besties to Vineyard Market for an evening of cigars, champagne, and cocktails in a chic and stylish setting filled with fresh flowers and lots of fun. The last event, on January 31st, as I spoke about before, is the Mahjong 101 class. And it's is that Street or Saint?
Street.
Street, Elizabeth, and
Sutton.
If you're Mahjong curious and want to figure out how to jump on this tile's game's upward momentum, here's some good news. You can learn how to play the game with the local Blooming Bams Mahjong group. This week class sold out a while back, so plan ahead now to snag your spot at the January 31st class. I'm good. I don't.
All right. Next article from the Springfield Business Journal. Ozark Tech Chancellor predicts need for tax levy increase. By Jeff Pickle, the digital editor. Ozarks Technical Community College may be headed back to voters for an increase in its tax levy. Chancellor Hal Hidgen spoke to the new need yesterday during Springfield's Business Journal's People's You Need to Know event. He was interviewed live by SBJ Executive Editor Christine Temple at Alamo Draft House, Springfield. "We are at 20 cents, he said, of Ozark Tech's current levy on every $100 of assessed property value. We're extremely low. First up, Ozark Tech would determine whether the appetite is there among voters. We're not going to go to the community without knowing that they support it," Hitchens said. "We're going to talk to the community. Future construction projects could be a possibility with increased funding. We'd really like to build a construction trades building in Springfield that will not happen without cooperation from the state and from our local tax base," Hitchens said. Ozark Tech last received voter approval for a 5-cent increase in its tax levy in 2018, bringing it to 20 cents per $100 of assessed property value, according to past reporting. The increase helped fund the Robert W. Plaster Center for Advanced Manufacturing, a $40 million facility that opened at Ozark Tech's Springfield campus in 2022. Scrappy operation. Hidgen said that for Ozark Tech, which he noted is not as well funded as other community colleges statewide, if it wasn't for being scrappy, we would have just folded our tent. According to the college's website, Ozark Tech, at 13% of the total, has less state appropriations than St. Louis Community College, 26%, and Metropolitan Community College in Kansas City, 19%. He added, "I've said it many times, we run more like a private institution than we do a public institution, because so little of our money comes from the state." Ozark Tech reported nearly 11,000 students in fall 2025, up from 1,198 when it opened its doors in 1991, according to the college website. "Yet, we're funded less than half of what some of the other community colleges in the state are," he said. "And the same is true for universities. Missouri State is subject to the same thing. So we have a formula in our state that rewards not growing and punishes growing. As Missouri State grew, their funding didn't grow. As Mizzou grew, their funding didn't grow. As schools like Truman State shrank, they didn't lose money. So we have a very backwards way of doing things." All right.
That last article was about Alamo, right? Or it said something about Alamo?
There was an interview in the Alamo Draft House.
Speaking of the Alamo Draft House, this is once again from Springfield News-Leader, and it's about movies. The reason why I'm bringing up Alamo Draft House is because Indie Film Kings brings Springfield Story to the Alamo Draft House. This article is by Janice
Reeser.
Oh, that's one way to spell Janice. The Independent Film Kings will premiere at 7:20 p.m. February 6th at Alamo Draft House, Springfield, 405 South Avenue. The 49-minute feature, written and directed by Carter Brock.
Bro.
The X is silent. He will be followed by a live Q&A, questions and answers, with the filmmakers, according to a community announcement. Additional screenings will be added based on audience demand. The article goes on to say Kings filmed in the Queen City. Ironic. Shot entirely in Springfield, Kings is the result of collaboration across the Southwest Missouri film community. The film was created by dozens of local cast and crew members, many of whom connected through the Sato 48 Film Challenge, an annual filmmaking event in the Ozarks. There's a picture of two people in some sort of huge warehouse. There's like a plane right next to them in the background. It says, the independent film Kings will premiere at Alamo Drafthouse, Springfield, 4005 South Avenue on February 6th at 7:20 p.m. Provided by Carter Bro. Like I just said before. Anyway, Kings follows a
Meticulous.
chess
Champion.
champion and a scheming poker hustler who finds themselves locked in a battle of wits after discovering a box of money in a dumpster. The film blends tension and dark humor while exploring strategy, chance, and the thin line between control and chaos. Bro wrote, directed, edited, and produced the film, working closely with the director of
Photography.
Yeah, photography. I got it. Taylor Hoos.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Hoos. The two met while studying digital film production at Missouri State University. The project also received support from several local businesses and organizations, including
Ozarks Charter Service.
Springfield Chess Club and Studio One. The article goes on to say Alamo Drafthouse Partnership. Alamo Drafthouse Springfield has partnered with the filmmakers to support the city's growing independent film scene. For every screening that sells out, Alamo Drafthouse will open an additional screening, continuing as long as audience demands remain strong. Friday and Saturday screenings of Kings will feature a live Q&A sessions, once again, questions and answers if nobody knows. Those sessions will be with members of the creative team. These theaters have both sold out and new showtimes are being added regularly. The team behind the film is planning a theatrical release in Kansas City, Los Angeles, and Austin, Texas in the near future. Tickets are available at the link drafthouse.com.
All right. Also from the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield Airport sets a new passenger record as growth surges. Article is also written by Janice Reeser. The Springfield Airport has set a new record for passenger numbers for the third consecutive year, with 1.55 million travelers passing through its gates in 2025, according to a community announcement. This marks a 9% increase from the previous year and more than 70% rise since 2015, according to the announcement. Springfield Airport's growth is outpacing aviation industry. The Springfield Airport continues to see year-over-year growth that outpaces the aviation industry, Brian Weller, Director of Aviation at SGF, said in the announcement. 1.5 million annual passengers is a milestone, and we are thankful to the community for flying Springfield. Several factors are contributing to the upswing, including the strong performance of the local economy and the region's population growth. Our other airport metrics also show improvement. 1.89 million gallons of aviation fuel were loaded on board aircraft, a nearly 13% increase over 2024. Flights leaving Springfield were 87.1% full on average, with 11,495 scheduled flights operating in 2025. That's an increase in scheduled flights of 8%. There is a picture of the Springfield Airport at the pickup for baggage, and it is a very crowded location. Renovations construction nearing completion. Growth is expected to continue in the new year, and with it come continued growing pains. A 10-month-long flooring project will be completed this summer, and a nearly $10 million terminal apron expansion project will wrap in the spring. Also coming this year are improved passenger amenities, including an automated exit lane and electric vehicle charging stations. Flyers are encouraged to visit the airport's website for project updates. https://www.flyspringfield.com/ or to follow Springfield Airport on social media at FlySGF on all platforms.
Next article is by Springfield Daily Citizen. How Springfield's singing doctors turned medical parody into lasting scholarships. A zany musical troupe of physicians seeded a scholarship fund that has grown for decades. And this article is by Mike O'Brien. Mike O'Brien. There's a picture of 6 people, 6 doctors next to a microphone smiling at the camera. A 1968 studio publicity photo, which is the one I said about before. It's a picture of the singing doctors in surgical garb. Left to right, F.T.H. Doubler, Don Gose.
Yep.
Fred Collar, Jim Brown, Hal
Lurie,
and Charles Lockhart. This photo is courtesy of the Brown family. The article goes on to say, in depth, Ozarks Echoes explores notable places and faces in the region's history. Every month, a new story will highlight how the topic echoes into the present, creating an impact that spans from its start to the modern day. Their singing voices have been stilled, except on their 7 recorded albums and in the memories of their appreciative audiences of a half-century ago. But the singing doctors continue to help finance education for medical students from Southwest Missouri through a scholarship fund created by their zany musical comedy Antiques. Antics. From 1958 until 1989, the handful of Springfield physicians who comprised the popular group performed their original songs and skits on stage throughout the Midwest as far away as New Jersey and Arizona, usually before gatherings of other medical professionals. And they appeared on national network television programs, including
The Today Show?
Network television programs, including shows like The Today Show and I've Got a Secret. There's another photo of the singing doctors. The stage lineup for a late 1960s appearance in Kansas City, left to right. As I said about before, it's the same people. The singing doctors poked fun at themselves, along with prescriptions, patients, problems, and personalities, with which all doctors and nurses and medical technicians must deal. They even took a lyrical swipe at the Internal Revenue Service after winning a continuous court case with the federal agency. More about that later. Over the years, they composed a repertoire of 60 songs matching humorous words with familiar tunes. Popular numbers included Thanks for the Miseries, Hemorrhoids,
Halitosis,
Trust in Me, Malpractice Blues,
psoriasis,
and Why Doctors Make Patients Wait. Here's a sample of typical lyrics from The Ills of Pills. Oh, prescriptions are lethal. Their cost we deplore. They cure many symptoms, but cause many more. Our patients could remedy most of their ills if they just flush away most of our pills. The group's origin was the 1958 edition of the annual banquet of the Greene County Medical Society. Dr. Jim Brown, whose specialty was
Vascular.
surgery, was appointed chairman of the entertainment committee for the event, but he allotted to no budget. So he decided to put together a musical comedy program featuring parody songs that he'd write to be performed by himself and some doctor pals. It wasn't just a completely absurd idea. Brown had dabbled in writing musical skits as far as back as junior high. While attending medical school, he worked for his brothers, Bill and Charlie, later two-termed congressmen from the Ozarks 7th District, who were in the advertising business and also produced radio programs in Nashville. Brown helped write country music songs for his brother's broadcast shows. The Singing Doctors weren't Dad's first experience on a stage either, notes son Trig Brown, who is retired from his own career as a physician and lives in the Durham, Chapel Hill, NC area. While he was in Korea, serving in a MASH, Mobile Army Surgical Hospital unit, he found a guitar player who was so good, so Dad wrote some parodies about what was happening there. And then they did a show called Kisses from Korea. He sent an audio tape of it home to Mom. That was the germ of the Singing Doctors, I think. From that first show here, Brown recruited two local physicians who were trained singers, General Surgeon Dr. Charles Lockhart and
Dermatologist.
Dr. Will Woldridge. He convinced his surgical partner, Dr. Don Gose, to sign on, plus Dr. F.T.H. Doubler. The FT stood for Francis Todd, but he was mostly known by nicknames such as Hogan or Ginger. To accompany the group, Brown lured another type of doctor, Wilfred Wimpy Alder, Ph.D., who was a professor of music at what was then Southwest Missouri State College, known throughout the community as an extraordinary pianist. Once again, this is a picture by the Singing Doctors. In their 1970s stage finery. And once again, this photo is courtesy of the Brown family. Oh, at the bottom, it's pianist Wilfred Adler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he's behind all the other doctors, such as Don Gose, and yeah. Trig Brown recalls, Dad always gave Dr. Adler the credit for any musicality that came out of their efforts. He viewed Dr. Adler as being important in their rehearsals and in the productions themselves. Dad really felt fortunate to have him. The debut before their medical society colleagues here was a resounding success. Before the year was out, they've been invited to perform in St. Louis at a meeting of the Missouri State Medical Society. Some officers of the American Medical Association attended that event and engaged the group to entertain at an AMA convention in Chicago that August. That Chicago appearance resulted in more than 24 invitations to entertain at future AMA gatherings throughout the country. Travel was a challenge. The doctors had busy professional and personal schedules that often made getting away for out-of-town trips difficult. Callaway and Woldridge couldn't free up sufficient time except for occasional local performances.
Internist
Dr. Hal
Lurie
was asked to take Callaway's spot in the group's quartet called the Four
Suppositories.
with assistant from local music
Mogul.
C. Seaman.
It's okay. Cy Simon.
Simon. I meant to say Simon.
It's okay.
Producer of the national network TV program Ozark Jubilee. So many big words in this thing.
It's okay.
That was
Originating
from downtown Springfield at the time. The group cut 2 record albums before the end of the decade.
Borborygmi.
It's a medical term for stomach rumbles and gurgles in 1958 and placenta preview in 1959. 1959. The group intentionally was billed as the Greene County Boys, but with their fame spreading as the calendar turned to the 1960s and with promotional advice from Don Richardson, who had ramrodded public relations for Ozark Jubilee, and by then was heading PR operations at Silver Dollar City. Their formal name was changed to the Singing Doctors of Springfield, Missouri. In 1963, a third album, Medic
Medicamedics.
was released. Sales were brisk for such niche albums. Earnings from the recordings and from performances were funneled into the Greene County Medical Society Foundation and earmarked for distribution as contributions to medical schools in Missouri and as loans and scholarships to medical students from the region. Richardson engineered the 2 1965 network television appearances, one on NBC's Today morning program and I've Got a Secret on CBS with Brown, Ghost, and Lockhart, not quite succeeding in stumping the panel of celebrity guessers. They then performed one of their latest compositions, Consultation for a national audience. And there's a video of the Singing Doctors.
Do you want to read the caption for that one?
My voice is kind of getting...
Okay.
Well, my voice is getting kind of sore, so
It's
I'm going to
okay.
let Savannah read the rest.
In one of 2 1965 national TV network appearances by members of the Singing Doctors, Jim Brown, Don Goss, and Charlotte Lockhart, appeared on the popular program I've Got a Secret, hosted by Steve Allen and featuring a celebrity panel to guess the doctor's secret, which was that the singing group had raised more than $70,000 and assisted 35 medical students with financial aid during the group's first 7 years of concerts and sales of record albums.
Yeesh, you can read better than me.
No, it's okay. I just had time to rest. It's okay.
Yeah.
This video is courtesy of the Brown family, with digitalization by the MSU Library Special Collections staff. The secret was that the group, musical comedy shtick, had raised $70,000 in its first 7 years. That's equal to over $720,000 in today's dollars, which had assisted 35 medical students thus far. However, that success had a downside. It attracted federal IRS auditors who claimed that, despite the Medical Society's foundation not-for-profit status and the educational benefits provided by the fund, the concert appearances, fees, and album sales amounted to a commercial enterprise. Thus, said the IRS, any income from the Singing Doctors' activities was taxable. The Medical Society Foundation paid back taxes under protest for the years 1964, 65, and 66, and the doctors largely curtailed the number of their performances rather than continue to pay what they considered to be unfair taxes. In 1970, the GCMS Foundation fought back, suing the IRS for return of those tax payments and a cessation of further tax assessment on income derived from album sales and performances by the singing doctors. A federal court trial in 1972 yielded a verdict in the foundation's favor. However, to the surprise of the legal observers and dismay of the doctors, the IRS appealed. However, in 1973, the U.S. Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals affirmed the trial's court decision, and the IRS was forced to return $4,958.24 in taxes paid plus interest. Brown penned a new ditty called Internal Revenue to the playlist, with lyrics facetiously imagining how he'd treat a patient from the IRS. I'd order him a laxative 3 times a day until you'd think that he would blow away, expose him to all resistant bugs, dix him to all expensive drugs. I'd stuff his revenue internal too.
Okay, then.
With the tax burden lifted, the singing doctors revived their entertainment and fundraising activities. They released a 4th album, The Singing Doctors on Stage, in 1966, their 5th, The Singing Doctors Keep You in Stitches, in 1972, and 6th, Thanks for the Miseries, in 1977. The 70s also saw them perform in the AMA's annual national convention in Atlantic City, New Jersey, in addition to many closer-to-home show dates. In 1978, the group received an AMA Special Award for service to the community and medical education. In 1985, Springfield Mayor George Scruggs proclaimed October 25th to be Singing Doctors Day in the city, recognizing the troup's promotion of the notion, laughter is the best medicine, and saluting them for raising more than $300,000 to help medical students with tuition, books, and other needs. And in 1987, the Missouri Senate passed a resolution honoring the musical medicos. Along the way, a new singer has been added, Dr. Jim Cook, one of the first recipients of financial assistance from the Singing Doctors Fund, had returned to his Aurora Monet of Springfield roots following graduation from the University of Missouri-Columbia School of Medicine, to join the anesthesia practice that at the time served both Cox and St. John's, now Mercy, hospitals. Cook, who today, at age 88, is the sole remaining living singing doctor, has quickly become visible here in helping lead efforts to improve health-related conditions for prisoners at the Greene County Jail and to push for, around-the-clock staff, emergency rooms at both hospitals, and professional ambulance services with trained EMTs based at the hospitals. Cook also became friends with Jim Brown, whom he'd met when applying for the student loan. There is a photo of Jim Cook, 88, as he is sitting in his home in a green chair.
Looks comfy.
It was not uncommon for 1 or 2 of the singing doctors to have a time conflict with a scheduled performance, and Jim asked me to become a substitute suppository, Cook recalls. Eventually, they expanded the quartet, and I became a regular in the renamed 5 Suppositories. The shows were fun, but the practice sessions were the most hilarious things ever, unlike any rehearsal that I ever intended for anything else. Everyone would pick on poor Will Adler. He was the only real musician there, and he tried to get us to seriously rehearse a song, but with only varying degrees of success. There was one skit in which Fred Codler played a pregnant woman. He loved that part, and he played it very well. But he died early in 1983 at age 62, and they made me play the role of the pregnant woman. I hated that part. That's why I grew a beard, so I couldn't play a woman anymore. Most of the 60s set of parody lyrics were dreamed up by Brown, but Charles Lockhart composed about half a dozen numbers. Cook chuckles with recounting that Lockhart asked each member to contribute 1 verse to one of his songs. My verse was, I think that I shall never see a surgeon with humility, Cook says, and it would always get me booed off the stage. Cook's recollection of the hijinks at the practice session were echoed by Jim Brown's daughter, Mary Lou, who was 8 years old when the group first formed. We had a piano, and so they'd often rehearse at our house. They were all so wonderful to me and my younger brother Trig. We called them Uncle Don, Uncle Hal, and so on. Wimpy Adler was so talented and so patient with those guys. He earned his place in heaven for putting up with them. There is a photo of the singing doctors at a home practice with accompanist Wilfred Wimpy Adler at the piano. They are all singing as they stand around Wimpy Adler. Brown says she and Trig would listen to them practice and we could repeat all the lyrics. Words like hemorrhoids became part of our lexicon, even if we didn't understand all of them at our young age. Don Ghost's son, John, who had retired from a career in information technology sales and now living in the Kansas City area, says he still knows the words to many of the Singing Doctors songs. When we were growing up, the members of the group were around our house a lot. They'd move from house to house to house. Wherever there was a piano and the tune for Dr. Adler, who was the most phenomenal piano player I've ever heard. It was always great to listen to. It was even better going to one of their shows, Ghost says. I loved seeing my dad up there on stage, dressed in ragged hillbilly clothes, with his teeth blacked out and wearing a wig, while people laughing at him. It was fun. A lot of fun. Don Goss' on-stage costume was in his role in a skit as Emmett, the son of Trichomonas Trigger, played by Brown, who wore an outlandish cowboy outfit. Goose recounts, Trigger would say, "My wife and I were saving up money to send Emmett to medical school, but we found out that it weren't necessary. He's a hospital administrator now." That punchline always got a lot of laughs, especially if they were playing to an audience of doctors or nurses. There's a photo of Jim Brown as Trichomonas Trigger and Don Goss as his son Emmett singing into a mic at one of their many shows. The caption says, hospital administrators were a frequent target of their jokes, which delighted audiences of doctors and nurses. Dr. Goss and Brown usually perform the song Hemorrhoids, which John Goss said supposedly was number one on the medical hit parade, so to speak. It was always very, very funny. Jim Cook agrees that Hemorrhoids was among the most popular songs in the group repertoire. Even on the few occasions when we appeared before audience of the general public, they got the humor because unlike some of our songs, most everyone knew about hemorrhoids. There is a video linked of the Singing Doctors on-stage album. A sample of those lyrics were, "There is much you can say about medicine today. We've made great strides in drugs and surgery, but there's still one disease that we can't treat with ease. To say you can is perjury. Hemorrhoids often itch and burn. Hemorrhoids give you that look of concern. Hemorrhoids, if you think your life is void, you should have a hemorrhoid. Now a man ain't no good, and can't act like he should, if his seat of learning is so burnin' hot. If he's cautious when he walks, and a frowner when he talks, then you can bet here's what he's got, hemorrhoids." The final performance by the Singing Doctors took place at the 1889 edition of the annual GCMS banquet, the same occasion that hosted their debut 31 years earlier. Yet their music lives on. Trig Brown recalls an occasion in the 1990s when he attended a student talent show at the Duke University School of Medicine. Two of the students performed a version of Hemorrhoids. I couldn't believe it. That was so much fun. A few cassette tapes copies of two of the albums, Thanks for the Miseries and The Singing Doctors Keep You in Stitches, still are available at the GCMS office. 4730 South National Avenue, Suite A1, at $20 each, with the money going to the GCMS Foundation. Their albums included their seventh and final one, The Best Worst of the Singing Doctors from 1982. Sometimes can be found in local flea markets and on eBay and other internet sites, both in vinyl album and cassette form. Also, a voluminous collection of Singing Doctors, ephemera, and documentation, plus digitalized versions of all 7 Singing Doctors albums, are held in the Special Collections departments of Meyer Library at MSU and can be heard in person there. The meticulous catalog collection was assembled by Mary Lou Brown, who lives in St. Louis and is retired for her 40-year career as an archivist at Anna Hesser Busch there, a couple of historical societies, a university, and a private client. Most importantly, the Singing Doctors' legacy of support for medical students lives on, stronger than ever. Now officially called the Singing Doctors of Springfield Medical Scholarship Endowment, the fund has been held and administered by the University of Missouri-Columbia School of Medicine since 1998. 25 students have been awarded scholarships, most for all 4 years of their schooling to become physicians, since the fund was transferred from Springfield to Columbia. In the late 1950s and early 60s, the award to students from the fund amounted to $500 per school year and were in the form of loans expected to be repaid. Nowadays, with the endowment presently standing at $922,377, students receive $6,500 per school year as straightforward scholarships, not loans. Recipients must have a direct connection to at least one of 16 counties of Southwest Missouri, either by residence or by having attended an undergraduate school in the region. Usually 4 or 5 students are chosen annually via a rigorous selection process that requires a solid academic achievement, multiple interviews, and a written essay. However, this school year, the endowment was able to be tapped for scholarships to 7 students. One of those 7s is Springfieldian Natalie Ratz, a 2018 graduate of Central High School who completed her undergraduate degree at the University of Tulsa before returning to her home state in Mizzou. She is currently back in Springfield, completing her 3rd-year rotations at Cox and Mercy hospitals. It's been such a meaningful experience returning home and learning from physicians in the community, she said. I've always felt that the Singing Doctor Scholarships was the perfect fit for me, as I actually majored in music alongside my pre-med coursework at Tulsa. I'm planning to apply for an OBGYN residency this coming year. She added, the scholarship takes some of the financial and emotional stress off the process. It gives me just a bit more space to focus on the work. Another current recipient is Matthew Atwood from Aurora, who is aiming for a career in surgical pathology. He strikes similar notes in expressing gratitude for the Singing Doctor Scholarship. It provides an exponential benefit for the dollar value to students. This is both in money saved on interest down the line and also in the ability to spend more time concentrating on school rather than the loan burden. I also believe that providing the scholarships inspires us as future doctors to do the same down the line, Atwood said. This creates a pay-it-forward system in the medical education, with each generation working to provide for the next. Jennifer McNay, Senior Director of Advancement at the MU School of Medicine, notes that new individual and corporate donations are important in maintaining the endowment and augment earnings on investments of the endowment funds already in hand. Tax-deductible contributions may be made to the Singing Doctors of Springfield Medical Scholarship Fund, University of Missouri School of Medicine, 107 Reynolds Alumni Center, Columbia, Missouri, 65211. All right, Madison, would you like to read the next article?
Yeah. I'm going to do a short one because we almost...
Yes, we got 10 minutes, I know.
Sorry, I'm just getting hungry.
I know, it's okay. Stay focused.
Next article is by SBJ. What did we say SBJ was from again?
The Springfield Business Journal.
Thank you. And this article has to do with Maverick. The Maverick property at 2704 South Campbell Avenue has changed hands.
Would you like to read the title?
Maverick gas station property changes ownership. And this is by the SBJ staff. A convenience store property in South Springfield has changed hands. The 2704 South Campbell Avenue property, which houses a net leased Maverick gas station, sold for $4.4 million, according to a news release from
Calabasa?
From California-based Marcus and
Millichap?
Incorporated. What is this? NYSE?
MMI.
Okay. These,
Which,
they,
it's okay, just continue. Which brokered?
the sale, whatever that means.
It's okay.
The release did not name the buyer and seller other than to say the new owner is a California-based limited liability company. However, a Greene County recorder filing shows that 2704 Springfield Nolan Maverick LLC took ownership of the property on December 23rd from Urban Springfield Come and Go LLC. California Secretary of State Records show 2704 Springfield Nolan Maverick LLC is registered to Robert Nolan of Los Angeles. The 6,203 square foot property sits on 2 acres and was built in 2016. It has been more than 10 years remaining on its lease. Don't remind me. I was saying it has been more than 10 years remaining on its lease, and I was like...
It has more than 10 years remaining on its lease.
Yes. The The store on the property was one of the locations Salt Lake City-based Maverick took over through the 2023 acquisition of
Des Moines.
Iowa-based Come and Go.
From the Springfield News-Leader, when can you start filing taxes in Missouri? What to know for 2026. This is written by Ahmed Jawadi. A new year means fresh goals and resolutions, but it also means another tax season is nearly upon us. This year's filing season will look a little different from previous years, as several new tax law provisions of President Donald Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill will go into effect, which could impact federal taxes, credits, and deductions. Whether you're an early filer or just want to know how long you can put it off, here's everything you need to know about filing taxes in 2026. When will the IRS start accepting 2025 tax returns? The IRS announced it will begin accepting tax returns on Monday, January 26 of 2026. The agency typically begins accepting returns in late January. When is the last day to file taxes in 2026? Taxes are due on Wednesday, April 15th, 2026. However, you can file an extension if necessary and have until Thursday, October 15th, 2026 to submit your tax information. When are state taxes due? Missouri state tax filing deadline is Wednesday, April 15th, 2026, the same day as the federal deadline. When can I expect my refund? If you filed your taxes online, you can expect to receive a refund in 1 more month or less, in most cases. The IRS says it issues most refunds within 21 calendar days. Paper returns, however, can take 4 weeks or more. Also, keep in mind that the IRS will no longer issue tax refunds by paper checks to most individual taxpayers starting this tax season. How to check your tax refund. You can go check the status of your federal tax refund online at irs.gov/where's, no apostrophe, dash my dash refund. What's new for taxes in 2026? Several federal tax laws changes approved in 2025 could affect some taxpayers this filing season. The IRS has provisions of H.R. 1, a sweeping federal tax law passed by Congress that supporters dubbed the One Big Beautiful The One Big Beautiful Bill included new deductions related to tips, overtime wages, and car loan interest, along with a new deduction for some older taxpayers. The IRS emphasized that there have been no changes to what counts as taxable income. Income from side jobs, freelance work, or selling goods and services remains taxable unless specifically excluded by law, regardless of whether a taxpayer receives a tax form. How to file your taxes for free. Eligible taxpayers can use the IRS Free File program to prepare and file federal returns online at no cost. All right, ready, Madison?
Yeah.
Am I going to have enough time to read this whole
Yes,
thing?
You have 6 minutes. It's okay.
Springfield Daily Citizen updated city to host visioning workshop for convention center alongside firm that designed Las Vegas Sphere. The event will take place from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Wednesday, January 28th at the Discovery Center in downtown Springfield. And this is by Jack McGee. There's an aerial view of the Springfield Expo Center taken in November 2025. And this photo is by Bruce Stidham. An editor's note. First one says, free access to elections coverage is made possible by the
Merrill
Lynch Nelson Hallam Group. And the second editor's note, this story has been updated with a new event date initially scheduled for Monday, January 26th. The workshop was rescheduled due to impending winter weather. With a revised hotel tax measure set to appear on the April 7th ballot, the city of Springfield will host a visioning workshop on Wednesday, January 28th, to discuss how a new convention and event center could play a significant role in ensuring Springfield's growth and vitality. Attendees will also learn how to stay engaged on the issue according to a press release. The visioning workshop will take place from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Discovery Center of Springfield, located at 438 East South St. Louis Street, near the proposed project site at 635 East St. Louis, which is currently home to the Springfield Expo Center. On April 7th, Springfield voters will consider a 3% hotel tax increase to help fund the convention center project, estimated to cost $175 million. Including property acquisition, the total project cost is expected to be about $205 million. Springfield voters previously rejected previously rejected a 3% hotel tax increase in the November 2025 election, unlike the previous measure, which was proposed in the
Perpetuity
the revised
proposal.
The revised proposal includes a 35-year sunset clause. While the ballot language is otherwise largely the same, the city is looking to improve on the previous proposal by providing more information about the project leading up to the election. City Manager David Cameron acknowledged the shortcomings of the previous proposal over the course of a listening tour that concluded earlier this month. Selected as an architecture firm, Crosslands Construction at CMAR. City officials will host the workshop alongside representatives of
Populous,
an architecture firm with global headquarters in Kansas City.
Populous
Specializes in event venues with experience in designing sports stadiums, airport terminals, and event centers and arenas. Notable projects in the U.S. designed by
Populous
include the Las Vegas Sphere, the new Highmark Stadium under construction in Buffalo, New York, and the main terminal renovation of the Nashville International Airport.
Populous
Was selected from a
procurement
process initiated in August 2025. SAP Design Architects and
Olson,
both of which have offices in Springfield and are also part of the design team. And
The time is 12 p.m.
finish reading the article.
the city has also selected Crossland Construction as the construction manager at risk, according to Melissa Hart, Assistant Director of Public Information and Civic Engagement. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. Tune in every week, Monday through Friday, on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel at 10 a.m. for more up-to-date news from the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and 417 Magazine. Listen after we are live on the Audio Reader Network at www.reader.ku.edu. All broadcasts are played over KSMU subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. on Mondays through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed audio. I'm Savannah.
I'm Madison.
And we will
And
see
we'll
you next
see
week.
you next time. Whoa!
Bye.
All right, hold on.